I thought it was all hogwash. That's why I left that and pursued the other religions, because I still wanted, I had a heart for the truth. So when I came back to Scripture and I started reading it, just pulling out whatever I wanted to, I came upon the book of Hebrews. And I read that and my eyes were open. It was like scales fell off. I was convicted that Jesus, everything about the Bible was true, that Jesus was the Son of God, that he was the only way, and I understood how his death on the cross was for our sins. We meet every 5 weeks, and what I challenge them to do is to make a commitment to pray over those 5 weeks for 5 days for 5 minutes a day. It's not a huge commitment. The thing about that, though, is that if you present it in that way, people who normally wouldn't pray for Asia, or for, in this case, Japan, are praying. My part of the bargain was, I said, if you do this, I will send you out prayer fuel. So 2 to 3 times a week, I send out an email that contains information to pray for various aspects of Japan, for missionaries themselves, their prayer requests from the prayer letters I get. And what I found from that is that I'm getting a huge response. I probably up to about 30, 35 people on the prayer list, and they're praying for Japan. And these are people who wouldn't normally pray for Japan. Well, my take on the prayer group leader is somebody who facilitates prayer, somebody who makes sure that the people who pray are supplied with things to pray for. That's one thing. And then there's the tough thing, is there's consistency. That's very important to me, is to find the consistency in prayer. And so the prayer group leader should be responsible for setting up prayer dates, if they're using emails like I am, to make sure they go out regularly, and to check back what people are praying, and to say, do you get around to these things? Is it too long? Is it too much? Do you need more? When we're talking about Asia, we're talking about the most populated and least reached people in the world. The Great Commission tells us to go out in the world. It's a command, it's not an option. How are we going to do that? There are so many different ways we can make an impact. Praying is one of them. Going is another one. But there are so many different things we can do. And if God has given us the talents to do these things, wouldn't it be great to be in front of him one day and hear, my good and faithful servant? My daughter asked me once, my 9-year-old asked me, why do I pray for Japan? And the simplest way I could think to put it to her is, what would you do if you were a superhero and you had a superpower and you can use this for the good of people? And she said, well, I'd use it for the good of people. And I said, well, with prayer, we have something that's so much more valuable than any superhero's superpower. We have the ability to take our petitions and put them at the feet of the living God, and he listens to them and he acts on them. And if you have compassion for a people group, in my case the Japanese, or it could be the Chinese, it could be anybody, and you have this potential where you can go to the living God and put that petition there, why wouldn't you? My one wish for my prayer group would be that there not only be a willingness, but there would be a heart that burns for Asia. That there'd be a love there, and that their prayers be a response for that love. I think it's hard not to fall in love with somebody you pray for. It's kind of, in a way, like church planting, I would say. The idea is not just to get together and have a certain amount of prayers or certain people you're praying for. Those are great things, but multiplying, it's a great thing that right now maybe 30 people or so who wouldn't pray for Japan are praying for Japan, but how much better would it be if there were 100, if there were 200, if there were 1,000? And are these things doable? I think they are. I think they are, but that's where the mobilization comes in, where you find people who are willing to pray, but you're also finding people who have a heart to lead other people and pray, that they can go on and start their own groups, and that this thing can just keep going and snowball. If you want to do the work of God, plunge in. Trust God to lead you.